And welcome to Bonhill Geography. Today we'll explore the fascinating world of coastal erosion, transportation, deposition, weathering and mass movement. Let's get into it. First we'll look at the 4 types of erosion that shape our coastlines. We are focusing particularly on the UK. Hydraulic action occurs when the force of the water pushes air into cracks, which then expand. This can break pieces of rock away from the coastline itself. Abrasion happens when waves carry sand, pebbles and larger rocks that grind or are thrown against the cliff face. This will gradually wear them down, creating things like a wave-cut notch. Attrition is the process where rocks and pebbles collide with each other, breaking into smaller and smoother pieces. Our last form of erosion is solution or corrosion. This involves dissolving the soluble rocks like limestone by acidic seawater. So next we'll look at how materials are transported along the coastline. Our first is traction. This involves large boulders and rocks being rolled along the seabed by the force of the water. Saltation is the hopping or bouncing movement of smaller pebbles and stones along the seabed. Sometimes this can be referred to as leapfrogging. This is because stones and pebbles are picked up and dropped, as if the waves themselves are trying to suspend the rock but don't have enough energy to carry it. Suspension occurs when fine, light material is carried along in the flow of the water. You can see a really good example of this in the background here, where lots of mud or sediment is being suspended in the water or the flow of the waves. Solution involves dissolved materials being transported within the water. Now, let's understand why deposition occurs at the coast. Deposition occurs when waves lose energy and can no longer carry their load. This is things like sediment, rocks and pebbles. They would drop the sediment that they are transporting. Technically, this can also happen with minerals within a solution, commonly found in places near river mouths, leading to processes like flocculation. Now typically we'll see deposition in sheltered areas like bays and estuaries. These provide very calm conditions where sediment can settle. We call these types of environments low energy environments. Constructive waves have a strong swash and a weak backwash. These are going to build up the beach by depositing material. This is because sand slows down the wave as it moves onto the beach due to friction, so the wave has less energy moving off the beach, so anything it's carrying is being deposited. If you'd like more information on depositional processes and landforms, please watch the depositional landforms video coming out in the next few days. But finally, let's look at the types of weathering and mass movement that affect coastal landscapes. Mechanical weathering, such as freeze-thaw, occurs when water enters cracks in the rocks, freezes, expands and eventually breaks the rocks apart. These can fall down to the base of the cliff. Chemical weathering involves the breakdown of rocks through chemical reactions, like acid rain dissolving things like limestone. Biological weathering happens when plants and animals contribute to the breakdown of rocks, such as roots growing into cracks and breaking them apart. We can see an example of this on the cliff face in the back of the video. Lastly, we have salt crystallization weathering. This is very common at the coast. This occurs when salt water evaporates. This leaves behind salt crystals. These crystals can grow and exert pressure on the rock, which causes it to break apart. Now lastly, let's move on to the last process, which is mass movement, of which there are 4 main. Firstly, we'll look at rotational slumping. Now this occurs when a section of the cliff moves downwards along the curved surface. This is normally due to the saturation or oversaturation of the soil with water, where it creates planes of weakness where the rock or soil can easily slip away. Rockfall happens when fragments of the rock break away from the cliff face. This is often due to freeze-thaw weathering, and they fall to the base of the cliff. So bear in mind this happens as a result of weathering taking place. We can see the rocks at the bottom of the cliff are quite sharp and angular, which is why we can find these rocks normally at the back of the beach. Landslides involve the sudden movement of a large mass of earth and rock down a slope. We can see a really good example of this occurring now. This is usually triggered by heavy rainfall or earthquakes. Mud flows occur when saturated soil and weak rock flow down a slope. This often occurs after heavy rainfall, creating a fast-moving river of mud. On the next slide, we see a summary slide with everything covered in today's video. Please feel free to pause there to help with your work. Thank you for watching Bonhill Geography. I'll catch you in the next video.